And yes, they help to produce quicker. But the use of those toxic pesticides is also very detrimental to our health. I mean, we don't know what causes cancer. And who knows, it could be these pesticides.
Definitely. So, as you're saying, the more that we have people who are advancing the science, the better it will be for us, especially environmentally and health-wise. So we really are encouraging a lot of the young people, especially women, to actually venture into, studying science in its different forms, because the science is so broad. Like you have environmental stuff, you have health stuff, you have just car-related things that can be studied. So if we have more people that are studying with science, especially with the Department of Science and Technology promoting Women in Science this month, it's a shout-out basically to people to come into the field and actually, help us solve some of the problems that we are having.
And I'd like us to talk about women in the sciences in a short while, but I think, what we are talking about just really speaks to the dangers of living in a fast-paced world where we after the next profit. It's got to be done bigger and quicker. I think we need to relearn, particularly our farmers, relearn that organic farming methods are also sustainable, they're also viable, they're also productive. Do you think we're slowly moving back very slowly moving back to that organic way of life? I mean, do farmers realize that organic farming is as profitable?
Well, I think that we are slowly moving to that. And with the farmers doing what they're doing, especially in the environment, we're definitely going to slowly move to a place where things will be a bit safer for us to consume as people.
All right. If you'd like to contribute to our conversation, do so on 0891 104 207. SMS is 234701. Our guest is Ms. Grace Ngubeni. She's working towards an MSc in physical chemistry at Rhodes University, and she's conducting very interesting research around the issue of identifying pollutants in our atmosphere, in our environment. Do you think enough of us are aware of the dangers of the different chemicals and pesticides in our foods?
Not at all, actually, because we really think about what we eat, actually. We really think about the process that it took for the food to be where it is at the moment. I mean, even with the whole meat thing that you spoke about earlier that was shared by Ngubeni before, like most of the time that if you can taste the different meat, it has different taste at times. I don't know if you've noticed in your own meat from different stores. I recently bought meat from a local butchery, and I was able to taste something that was funny. And because I'm a scientist, I was a bit aware of that, and I stopped buying that meat because I was like, I'm not sure what means of preservation they are actually using to actually preserve this meat, because I noticed after buying it for a period of time, it wasn't actually treating my body well. So it became it was alarming to me to discover this in my own, daily life.
Poor scientist. I mean, your senses are just extra heightened to these nuances. Some of us just eat and we don't taste the difference. Let's hear from...
Yes, and that happens so often. Yeah. You find yourself being sick without being aware
Absolutely.
as to what is causing you to be sick, whereas it's the daily things we're consuming without necessarily putting, our minds to thinking, oh, where did this come from? Where did this fruit come from? Did you wash it with water before eating it? Did you make sure that your hands are clean before eating? Yeah. All those small things actually contribute to the way that, our health is at the end of the day.
It all adds up. Okay, let's speak to Sipho Everina. Good morning. Welcome. Good morning, Sipho. Hi, Sipho.
Morning.
Hi there.
Yes, I don't know. I still have to discover those chemicals that they use on the cattle. We're into farming for almost 5 years now, and we don't use any chemicals except the normal nutrients that we get from the salt, the molasses, and the green, the yellow maize, and all these other things. And the result so far has been excellent. We don't need any other, additional, chemicals to sort of bloat this cattle out of sight. But like I say, I've heard about that, but I haven't. We're still searching to find out, where do these things originate from, and what side effects do they have onto people. So basically, that's my contribution. So I don't know.
You, as a farmer, you wouldn't use those growth hormones on your cattle?
No, there isn't. It's not necessary. For what?
So that they grow quicker, fatter, and juicier.
No, I mean, the age, it will tell you, in terms, even if you take a young cattle and you try to push it, I mean, it doesn't really make sense, because when they grade at the slagpile, what they look at the age, they look at the number of teeth it has, and then they grade it. I mean, why really? It's not necessary.
Okay, I'm not quite understanding you, Sipho. Are you saying you, in your experience, have never come across these growth hormones, or are you saying they actually don't exist?
No, I'm not saying they don't exist. I'm saying is I still have to find out, because we're not that long in the field. We're about 5 years old. We still are looking around for people who are using these things and who can show and prove to us in terms of profitability, is it worth going that route or the route that we are using? Because the one that we are using, we're quite comfortable with that.
Oh, good. All right. Thank you for your contribution, Sipho, talking to us about his experience. And we need more people like Sipho, don't we, Ms. Ngubeni?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we do, actually.
Okay, let's talk about women in science, because that's really what this is all about. We know that the Department of Science and Technology does a lot to recognize women scientists and women researchers as well, and to bring this to the issue of attracting women to the sciences to the fore, and it has done that sufficiently, you would say.
Yes, I think the Department of Science and Technology has actually done quite a lot to actually encourage women to pursue sciences. I mean, there are different organizations and that are there already. The South African Women in Science and Engineering is there already, promoting more women to actually venture into science and engineering, because these fields have been dominated by men, especially back in the day. Yet now you find that there's a dynamic shift, a paradigm shift that is happening, and more women are actually engaging themselves in science, myself included. And it's quite encouraging to see that the Department of Science and Technology is also awarding women who are in science to actually give them funding in various ways in order to advance the research that we are doing in the different institutions.
Wonderful. And we'll talk about these awards. They're going to be held on the 13th of August. We'll talk about that in a short while. Let's first take Gifilwe's call. Good morning. Hi.
Hi, Sakina. How are you?
I'm Rowena Gifilwe. I go away for 2 months and you forget me.
I'm so sorry. Okay. Just what the gentleman was saying. Some of the things about this growth hormone. That's why we have all these cancers. That's why you find young girls now, they start having their menses at age 11, 12. The chicken that we get from Brazil, we don't even know what they feed the chicken, but we are prepared to get the chicken from Brazil and eat it. The other thing that I want to say, you must buy tomato from Woolworths. You can put it in your fridge for 3 to 4 weeks. It will never rot. It will smile at you for 3 to 4 weeks. And you must ask yourself, because of science, what is in that tomato that makes it not to rot? You see, science is good, but I've told you about 3 things. Your cancer, an early age of menstruation, your chickens from Brazil that we don't know what they feed them or prepared to accept them, your tomatoes that don't rot. That is why we get so many cancers. Every other person that you meet has either got prostate cancer or colon cancer. Now the question is, as South Africans, why?
It's like my sister says, Gefilwe, that milk has got to die. She said she doesn't drink or eat anything with long life milk. She says milk has got to die. And if it doesn't die, she doesn't do it.
It's all like the tomatoes, they don't die.
Yeah.
You can put them there for 4 weeks. You go back into your fridge, they'll still be smiling at you. What is in that tomato? And the other thing we get excited about Woolworths food, we don't ask our questions, why? Why do young girls suddenly have menses? I mean, we started at 15 or even later. Why 11, 12 now? It's because of all this growth hormone and all other chemicals in the food.
In fact, I remember Dr. Aaron Mutsoledi saying something similar. In fact, he said that girls today sometimes start their menstruation at 9 years, even younger than the 11 years. But thanks, Gifilwe. Thanks for your contribution. I don't know if you want to comment on what Gifilwe had to say, Ms. Ngubeni.
Yeah, I think what she's saying with regards to also the food not rotting, I think the question of why is quite an important question to ask, especially because, I mean, food needs to rot. Everything that is born needs to have, has a certain lifespan. You know, there should be a lifespan there. So if we start asking ourselves, why are these things not rotting? Why are we starting to have girls menstruate at an earlier age? Then we'll be able to find out what chemicals are being put in these growth hormones and how they're affecting our bodies, in the current day and age. And these different cancers that are being, that we are tracking actually, where are they coming from? I think those are some of the questions as scientists we are asking ourselves, and we want to do more research on them with the different research groups that we are involved in.
All right, let's talk now about the awards. Tell us more about the South African Women in Science Awards. I said that they're going to be held on the 13th of August, and the theme is right up your alley, isn't it? Science for a Sustainable Future. That's the theme for the 2015
Definitely.
awards. Tell us more.
Well, the Department of Science and Technology calls for nominations to recognize and award excellence by women in science in the different research fields. And what they do basically is to reward these women, from old women and young women, with different funding opportunities to actually continue their research. As you've said, the theme for 2015 is Science for a Sustainable Future. And the goals that Women in Science is trying to promote is for more research to continue in our country, basically.
All right. And are you participating in any way? Have you been nominated?
I'm not participating this year. I won the Women in Science Award last year for 2014.
Congratulations.
And I got thank you so much. I got the Tata Scholarship through the Department of Science and Technology last year. So that's the funding I use in order for me to continue with my studies as I'm doing my MSc in chemistry.
Yes. All right. And I'm sure you are a role model to so many younger women. Does that put you under pressure of whatever kind?
It definitely does, because I'm leading by example. You know, I have a younger sister. She is currently in grade 8, and she looks up to me so much so that she is also thinking about, studying science one day. Even the people back in my community, they're actually looking up to me and seeing the things that I'm doing and actually being inspired to do more for themselves as well. So it really does put me under pressure, but at the same time, I think it gives me an opportunity to actually mentor people and encourage them to pursue what they want to pursue and their dreams, basically.
Is it a challenging field?
I can definitely say that science is a challenging field. However, it's not impossible to do. I mean, over the years, we've had a lot of growth, especially with the women coming into the sciences and making different discoveries. In our department right now, we have Professor Nyakong, who's a distinguished professor. She has made a breakthrough in terms of trying to replace chemotherapy for photodynamic therapy, which is using light in order to treat cancer. So it's not really something that I can say is not possible to do, but it's very possible for us to actually study science and actually discover what alternatives can be used in order to better our country and our world, essentially.
Wow. Well, congratulations. All the best to you. And I'm sure we will talk again in the not so distant future. Thank you very much for chatting to us. Our guest, Ms. Grace Ngubeni. She's working towards an MSc in chemistry, in physical chemistry at Rhodes University. And her research is around identifying pollutants in our environment, in our water, in the air that we breathe, and so on. And and she's actually a winner of the South African Women in Science Awards 2014. The 2015 awards are going to be held on the 13th of August, this being Women's Month. And we're talking about research in the sciences. We'll be talking about a different kind of research after the news headlines, and that's research into language, particularly township slang or Iscamtho. You'll know about Iscamtho if you live in Soweto. And if you can speak Iscamtho, maybe you can give us a call and say something in it and just teach us, educate us. 0891 104 207. It is now 10:30 and it's time for the news headlines with Stephen Kirker.